Hello, darlings! Lady Pelvic with Pelvic Gaming bringing you the review of The Last Guardian, which came out for the PlayStation 4 on December 6th, 2016. And for those who are out of the loop, this is from the same pool of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico. Huge fan of Shadow of the Colossus, not so much Ico. So The Last Guardian has been pushed back time and time again. Honestly, I thought it was going to be for the PlayStation 3, as many people did, but alas, we got it for the PlayStation 4, which is a blessing because I thought it was going to be cancelled. Thankfully, Sony and friends pulled through and they gave us a beautiful and touching game. The Last Guardian opens up with an art book of mythical creatures, ending with an oversized cat-bird thing known as Trico. You are a young boy with no name who wakes up beside the creature with no recollection of how you got to these mysterious ruins. In addition, your body is coated with strange markings. Beside you is a wounded and angered masked beast, in which after you perform tasks demonstrating friendship, does the monstrous Trico begin to trust you. It is from there you free Trico from its shackles and you tend to its wounds, and embark on a journey to escape the enigmatic ruins. The overall story I found to be incredibly abstract, and the ending to be humbly satisfying. The Last Guardian is more about the journey than the conceptual story. The moments of bonding that's shared between the boy and Trico, the simple joy of seeing Trico happy and roll around in the water, seeing two separate species who couldn't hold a conversation, understand, and feel each other's pain. The dependence on one another is what really made this game heartwarming. The Last Guardian is defined as an action-adventure game, although I'd say it's less action and more puzzle-adventure. As you go through the ruins, you encounter different puzzles that utilize the combination of Trico and the boy's skills. The boy plays the role of a commander, most of the time giving Trico directions in hopes that he'll listen and advance the puzzle. But he does do some hard labor himself. The trials you face in the ruins normally consist of giving Trico tasty barrels, climbing walls, pulling levers, and most importantly, destroying glass eyes that Trico is hysterically afraid of. A nice touch the developers added was if you're stuck, try looking at Trico, as he interacts with the surroundings and hints how to reach the next segment. And after clearing a section of the ruins, you're normally led to an outdoor area before exploring the new part of the ruins. Another force to keep an eye out for are the Stone Warriors, enchanted stone armor that chases after the defenseless boy. If grabbed, symbols similar to your tattoos pop up all over your screen. You must button mash and get away before they pass through the mysterious door, or else you land a game over. The only quote-unquote attack you have is to push them. You alone cannot defeat them and must lead them to your protective friend who will stomp them out. One of this game's biggest setbacks is Trico failing to listen to the boy's commands. The director said Trico sometimes behaves like a true animal and doesn't listen. To me, that sounded like a cover-up for Trico failing to do what he's told. Like, you can already have the puzzle figured out, but if Trico doesn't do what he's asked, you can easily spend 15 minutes trying to get him to do what he's told. There were several times I had the puzzle figured out, but Trico didn't obey, and I began to think, well, maybe I had the wrong idea. So I looked at walkthroughs, and sure enough, I had the right idea, just Trico wasn't following through. Knowing that, I became easily irritated with my feathery companion. And speaking of feathers, that's often what you get a face full of. The camera work is subpar, and because you find yourself in tight spaces with a large being, your screen sometimes turns into a feathery gray. Another thing is, the boy's controls are kind of awkward. Like, I felt like he fumbled a lot. Like, if he tried to push something that wasn't there, he kind of just fell over. It was like he was drunk throughout the entire game. Or maybe he stumbles so much because he's walking through barefoot in these ruins the whole game. Like, I don't know how this kid does it. He's resilient as heck, man. He could fall from great heights, limp around for about 15 seconds, which feels like forever, and then he's back at it. When he clings to a frazzled Trico and he's being tossed and turned right and left, and like, I'm not a scientist, but physics says your arm should snap. It's a miracle that they don't. The graphics of this bad boy. I found the graphics to be rather breathtaking. The detail in the bleak surroundings, the textures of the wood, the stone, the iron, or the more vibrant, uplifting colors in the various greens painted in the trees and the grass were gorgeous. And for a game that requires you to pay very close attention to your surroundings, they did a phenomenal job. Even Trico, I love the way his feathers looked, especially when he got wet, you could see the difference, or even when his feathers got bloodied. I feel the biggest setback is when this game became like heavily active on screen. If Trico was fighting soldiers while the ruins were collapsing around them, sometimes it became all too much and the frame rate suffered for it dearly. There was one time the game froze just for a second and it freaked me out because I didn't know the last time this game autosaved. And as a quick sidetrack, this game does not have a proper save function. You rely on autosaves every time you reach a checkpoint. The general rule of thumb is after any major quote-unquote fight sequence or after you complete a puzzle, that's when it's saved. And that bothered me quite a bit because there was no visual telling you that it's saved, you simply assumed. And I am like a hardcore fan of manual saving. Even after a game autosaves, I save anyways. And also, you're stuck with one save file, so after you completed a puzzle, and for whatever reason you want to go back and play it again, you couldn't do that without playing through the entire game again, which is kind of a bummer. And the final bit, my thoughts on the music. Too bland if I'm being honest. Really, this game had more ambient sounds, the wind howling, the pitter-patter of the boys' footsteps, Trico's feathers rustling, and so on. I don't really have much to say about it. It's almost non-existent. There was pretty much only 2 times I really noticed it, is when I was facing the stone soldiers, and when you're victorious in solving a puzzle. Other than that, I don't got much, so here's Victorious. The Last Guardian is a tough game to rate considering its ups and downs. I think it's a 7.5 out of 10. To be fair, maybe even a 7. This game is not for everyone. While I personally enjoyed it, I understand the fair and mixed response it got. The good parts were great. You saw a touching friendship being developed by overcoming crafty puzzles. But at the same time, you're heavily depending on an AI to heed your beck and call, and when it doesn't, it just drags out the game. Plus, it's very important to go into this game with the appropriate mindset. It is a puzzle game. Like, it has sprinkles and tidbits of action, but it is hands down, in my opinion, a puzzle game. So if you go into this game expecting like hardcore action, oh my god, you're gonna be so disappointed. Not that this game is without action, but because of how forgiving and patient the game is with you, I found it oddly relaxing. Now, with that all being said, this game isn't worth the $60 price tag. I would wait till 30 or 40 bucks before you pick up this game. It's nice, it's short, 12 hours max. You can beat it within a day. Thank you so much for watching. My top box is more review videos, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. We are still Dancing with the Dead and Crypto the Necrodancer. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and know that I love you. So the next review, maybe not next video, but the next review is the big one. Xenogears.